Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio.
Zaron.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
What's up, Elizabeth?
Zaron Burnett, how are you?
I was just having quiet time, my head down on my desk, like I finished my test early.
I love quiet time.
I know you do.
I
know you finished your test early, too.
I love quiet. Listen.
Yes.
You know what's ridiculous?
Oh, my goodness. Jim Morrison.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Period. No, but
the end.
I have to admit, I was a Jim Morrison stan when I was a young man. Like, I was that kid.
Okay.
But I just found out recently that there was a memorial bust of Jim Morrison at the Père Lachaise cemetery in Paris. And it was like a Head and Shoulders, and it was like kind of very famous.
Yeah.
And then it was stolen in
I did not know that.
It was stolen in 1988. And it was been gone for a long time. The family eventually paid for a new one to replace it.
Okay.
But after 37 years, the Paris police just found it. Good job, Paris police.
Where?
37 years. Turns out, totally by mistake, they were serving a warrant on an unrelated case.
No.
Yeah, as they said, quote, "This was a chance discovery made during a search ordered by an examining magistrate at the Paris court."
Wow.
So they just stumbled across the Jim Morrison bus like, hey, Pierre, is this important?
Just tack it on the charges now.
Yeah, so there you go. I thought that was ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
French police. We're
Accidental
Paris police.
recovery.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing.
37 years later.
Do you want to know what else is ridiculous?
Yes, please.
Smuggling literal tons of weed. Like tons.
Oh.
Oh. This is Ridiculous Crime, a podcast about absurd and outrageous capers, heists, and cons. It is always 99% murder-free and 100% ridiculous.
I hope you done heard that.
I hope so, too. I would like to open with a reading, a poem of sorts, from a poet I can't stand, but that I think you'll appreciate, and through whom this tale I tell you today resonates strongly. This won't be a close reading, just a contemplation on a theme.
Okay. I'm prepared.
Here it is. As the son of a sailor, I went out on the sea for adventure, expanding the view of the captain and crew like a man just released from indenture. As a dreamer of dreams and a traveling man, I have chalked up many a mile, read dozens of books about heroes and crooks, and I learned much from both of their styles. Son of a son, son of a son, son of a son of a sailor, son of a gun, load the last ton, one step ahead of the jailer. Thank you. That's right. It's the lyrics to the song Son of a Sailor by Jimmy Buffett.
James Buffett.
Jimmy Buffet. My dad...
The disdain on your face.
My dad loved Jimmy Buffett.
I can tell.
Because he was all about like sailboats in the ocean and cheeseburgers in paradise.
Yeah.
And I
Good
think,
life, Elizabeth.
Well, and my nephew is the son of a sailor.
This is true.
Technically. But I can't stand Jimmy Buffett.
Oh.
I think I was trying
That's what that look was?
I was trying to investigate this.
Yes.
I was like, Elizabeth, I always think
He's
it's
a good
important
time guy.
anytime that you really don't like someone.
Oh, yeah.
You really
You have
have to
strong reaction.
investigate and think. A lot of times, not all the time, but many times, it's the things that you don't like about yourself or what you see in that person.
Oh, reveal something.
Or what you're afraid you are.
Oh.
But then I really
So you're
thought,
afraid you're a beach bum who
no,
blow
not
out
at all.
flip-flops?
What irks me about Jimmy Buffett, I decided, is the longing that his fans feel for this life of no obligation. And in their search for it, they kind of abandon obligation. Like the obligation to not be drunk in public.
You don't like the divorced dad energy?
No, there's so much divorced dad energy. It's like the fans didn't or don't do the infantile describing of any minor responsibility as, quote, adulting.
Sure.
That is nails on a chalkboard for
I know
me.
you hate that term, adulting.
What's yours, the one that you don't
Sunday
like?
Scaries.
Sunday Scaries.
Whenever I hear that, I used to be in pitch meetings, and then people would say in Monday morning, they'd be like, I had a real bad case of Sunday Scaries, and I'd have to keep a straight face because we're on a Zoom call.
Up.
Well, I'm just not, you know me, I'm more of a cowboy. I'm never going to admit, even if I felt that, you don't admit that.
Life is about obligations. And I think I've told you before that my big run-in with a Jimmy Buffett fan was when I was like maybe 8 years old, and the neighbors across the street were like pre-partying for a Jimmy Buffett concert. And this lady came up to me, like I can see her leathery décolleté and like the visor over crispy bleached hair. And like you can see like her bikini straps under the tank top.
Yes, she's wearing a tank top over a bikini, yes?
Yes. And then like shorts and flip-flops and like a anklet.
Of course.
She's
court-ordered anklet or not?
No, that'd be amazing. No, and she was the one who said, you know, like unbidden, walks up to a child and says, the best cure for a hangover is a tuna sandwich, french fries, and a chocolate shake.
Well, you've always remembered it, so apparently...
It is burned. It is like, but so...
Have you ever used her medical advice?
No.
Oh.
And like...
It's good advice.
I never got hungover.
It's actually correct.
Yeah, so...
if you can stand tuna.
Rude Dude Parrot Heads, we want to hear from you. ridiculouscrime@gmail.com.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, I will represent. I was a parrot head. I've been to multiple shows.
But what I find...
I have Hawaiian shirts.
But the appeal of Jimmy Buffett to people, like, okay, so life is about obligations.
Sure.
People depend on us. Systems depend on our reliability.
Yes, of course. I'm with this.
There should be satisfaction in stepping up and embracing responsibility.
This is where the cowboy
quote,
part of me
unquote,
agrees with you.
adulting.
Yes, this is where I'm
don't
like, you
call
got to
it
handle
adulting. Just live your life.
Yeah.
The Jimmy Buffett...
Don't turn it into a thing.
The aesthetic of Jimmy Buffett is all about abandoning responsibility for pure relaxation and enjoyment.
Footloose, beach bum.
I love to enjoy things, and I wish I knew what relaxation felt like. But there are limits, folks. That's what I say. So today, I want to tell you a very Jimmy Buffett story.
Yes!
Yeah. It's got a dash of Stephen Stills.
I'll take it.
Thrown in there.
That's for you.
I love
That's
Stephen
Stills.
I
know. I get this.
This is more Buffett than Stills, I think. But this is...
Well, it's criminal.
This is about a complex character. A guy with shifting obligations that he embraces and abandons in equal turns.
Oh.
So this is the story of Raymond Grady Stansel Jr.
That's a heck of a name.
Yeah,
Raymond Grady Stansel Jr.
Yeah, we're going to call him Ray. He was born in 1937. He grew up in St. Petersburg, Florida. You could say that he was the son of a sailor.
Oh, okay.
His dad was a commercial fisherman, and that's a punishing job.
Yes, it is.
He was born into a very outdoorsy family.
Sounds like it.
And
robust men.
He fell right into it. Is your family outdoorsy?
Some of them are.
Yeah.
Some are very bookish and scholarly, and others are really outdoorsy.
Really outdoorsy.
Like, they'll hunt their dinner.
Yeah, yeah. My dad's side of the family, very outdoorsy. My mom's side, not so much.
Yeah.
They make an effort.
No, that's good.
But, you know. Anyway, Ray, total outdoorsman. So he started young with the fishing. When he was 6, he helped his dad by casting out a net to pull in bait for like big fish fishing.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Bait fish.
And he loved and respected the water. You have to as a sailor
gotta
or
be a
fisherman.
waterman, yeah.
And when he was in his teens, he saw the destruction around him that dredging was doing to the wetlands in Florida.
Yeah.
So he went out one day and he sank one of the big dredging vessels out in Tampa Bay.
Sure.
Yeah. So a little bit of a folk hero outlaw. He got out of high school in the mid-50s, enlisted in the Air Force, but he bailed on that really quickly. And then he went out to follow in his dad's footsteps. He became a professional fisherman. So there's this really great feature on Ray in the magazine Outside.
I love that magazine.
It's a great one. Here's a quote from that where he's basically painted as the most interesting man alive.
Nice.
Quote, Stansel was said to be able to back a 46-foot sport fishing boat into a slip with the wind blowing 15 knots and the tide running against him. Legend has it he once single-handedly brought up a 90-foot barge that had sunk in 100-foot waters using only scuba gear and inflatable tubes. He once caught more than 2,000 pounds of grouper in a single weekend. All this despite the fact that he was blind in his left eye, a consequence of being struck in the face with a broom as he and a friend swept the cafeteria floor in middle school.
This is good.
Right? I shouldn't laugh at the last bit about the eye. Whatever.
You didn't
we all
do
fall
it.
short in life.
I think you can only not laugh if you did it.
Yeah, exactly. So by the time he was 30, married, 4 kids.
Okay.
1965, he gets hired to be the private captain for the founder of the Dallas Cowboys, Clint Murchison Jr.
Oh, wow.
Fun fact, Clint was an oil heir who funded the creation of a Swedish pirate radio station that operated off the coast of Sweden from March of 1961 to June of 1962.
Did not know that.
No one did.
Yeah.
I just made that up.
Oh,
no,
okay,
it
very
really
good.
is true.
Oh.
So Ray's gig for Clint, that only lasted a couple years. And then when it wrapped up, Ray picked up, moved his family back to Florida. So he started this business running charter boats. But the waters and the weather, very
it's
unpredictable.
A tough business,
Yeah. And so it's an unpredictable weather, unpredictable business, which is not good business.
It's a tough business, like I was saying.
Yeah. So he tried setting out stone crab
Any
traps.
business where what you're investing in, you have to feed it, or if it floats, is a rough business.
That's good. That is good, Zaron.
I was told that one time.
I like that. Yeah. He tried doing stone crab traps in the wintertime.
Yeah.
But the pickings were slim. And he just couldn't eke out a living.
Huh.
But then he did.
Oh?
Zaron, how do you think Ray was able to make money in Florida in the early 70s when he had a boat and lots of maritime experience and skill?
Elizabeth, how was Ray able to make money in the early 70s when he had a boat and limited maritime skill?
Lots of maritime.
Sorry, lots of that.
Yeah.
I was talking about me.
You're right, Zaron. You got it right. Drug smuggling? You got it right.
He was moving the marijuana?
Las drogas. Yeah. I don't know how he first got into it, but he was really good at it.
Really?
He moved weight. So at the time, weed, super cheap in Jamaica.
Yeah.
The good stuff grown up in the mountains was sold by the 50-pound burlap
Bales.
sack on the
Yeah.
beach to those who were in the know.
Totally.
$10 a pound, if you can believe it.
What?
$10 a pound. So dealers, they'd pick up a few sacks and then they would sell it for $175 a pound. That's profit.
A hell of a markup.
Yeah. But that's a lot of stuff, hundreds of pounds.
It's a lot to move.
You aren't just shoving that in your undies
No.
when you go through customs.
No, you're now a trucker.
Yeah. So the dealers, they contracted with Ray. He's a pro. He knew every nook and cranny
All the
along the
inlets.
coast.
Oh, yeah.
He could pilot a boat swiftly, safely. Remember, he could back it up.
There's a lot of sandbars to navigate in Florida. I mean, you got to know those areas.
He could read the weather.
And you don't want to get beached with the bales of pot.
No. He was the ace.
He's amazing. Yeah.
So Jamaican weed was known to be good, but the best weed was supposed to be coming in from Colombia.
So I just thought you were going to go.
And so that's where Ray set his sights
Nice.
next.
There he goes.
So he teamed up with this big dog weed supplier named Raul Davila Jimeno.
Oh.
And to the rest of the world, that guy was like a sugar, coffee, and petroleum exporter.
Sure.
To the drug world, he was the major supplier for the Black Tuna Gang.
The Black Tuna Gang.
Black Tuna Gang got its name because that was Raul's radio code name.
Oh,
Everyone
no.
called him Black Tuna. And most of the gang members, they wore these solid gold medallions, these necklaces that had a Black Tuna emblem on it.
Hell yeah. That looks cool. I bet.
Oh, it was super cool. It was their good luck charm, but it was also a symbol of their
gang
membership.
sign, yeah.
And so Raul's basically got this small private army.
Oh, yeah.
And he ruled Santa Marta, Colombia, which happened to be where most of the Colombian marijuana was grown.
And I imagine it's a beautiful coastal city, so everyone's living beautiful lives.
Oh, it was just incredible. So the Black Tuna Gang, they ran Santa Marta, Colombia, but they operated out of a suite at the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami Beach.
That was sweet.
Yeah. And they had in their pocket this vice president of this fancy Fort Lauderdale yacht brokerage. And he got them access to specialized boats that could carry tons of marijuana without sitting suspiciously low in the water. So the contraband was transported in these modified boats and they unloaded it at there were all these stash houses along the waterfront in really nice neighborhoods.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So they you wouldn't be surprised.
You pull into
if
the canals of a nice neighborhood,
Yeah.
dump some stuff late at night onto the dock, they load it into the house.
Yeah, and it's just
Beautiful
everyone just
idea.
kind of minds their own business. It would take Ray 5 days to get from Jamaica to Florida.
Okay.
And it took him 10 days to get from Colombia to Florida.
Yeah, this is in the era before the go-fast boats and cocaine. So they're doing the opposite. They're taking the slow boats.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he'd pilot this specially fitted boat through the maze of, as you were saying, all these Florida inlets. In the middle of the night, his crew would move the bales of weed from the boat to the beach.
Okay.
And then the marijuana bundles, which one of his guys later said that it looked like horse feed.
Yeah.
Because it's just big bales of
loose,
it.
Yeah.
the bales of it would be weighed on these huge, like enormous scales.
Like vet scales, like veterinarian
Yeah,
scales? Yeah.
and then transferred to the stash houses. And this went on for years. They were moving like 100,000 pounds at a time.
Whew, boy.
Like I said, weight.
Yeah.
So when a criminal enterprise is doing really well, like bringing in a lot of cash, it often becomes really hard to store and keep that physical cash.
Yeah.
So you can't just deposit it in the bank for so many reasons. There are the daily limits. You need to be able to like pick up and run.
Then you need to pay your guys, and you don't want to have to go to the bank to get your payroll for your criminal enterprise.
You need to be totally liquid and transferable and like free from seizure.
Definitely that.
So Ray, he dealt with his cash storage problems by storing stacks of hundreds in orange crates in his parents' attic.
What?
But then one day his dad found him.
Of course.
And that's hard to explain.
Yes.
I wonder if he had to like break some off to his dad to be quiet. Like, you didn't see this. Here's a crate.
Totally.
Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, keep a box.
But
don't tell mom.
Ray's like, I got to get serious about this. I can't stash it at my parents' house.
Yeah,
So
no kidding.
he opened a bank account in the Cayman Islands.
There you
so
go.
now he's adulting, Zaron.
He really is, Elizabeth.
Then he used some of the cash to get gold bars.
Okay.
And it's all about the laundering, obviously.
Yeah.
So he established like seafood and boat building companies in Panama and Honduras.
Smart.
And then he
Less
invested,
government oversight.
bought more boats.
Good.
You
Growth. You want to grow.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. Fishermen have to be observant. Like, they monitor all the little changes and shifts around them. Same with sailors.
Totally.
And
anyone with water.
Yeah, the fishermen who shared the docks with Ray's boats, they notice something. Like, he goes out a lot, comes back fully laden, but he never left the pier with ice. And like, you have to have that if you're going to go out and plan on catching fish.
Yes.
Never loaded up ice.
You don't want hot fish sitting on your boat.
Right? So this big full boat comes back and his nets were always unused and dry.
That's another giveaway.
Yeah, so it just wasn't adding up. So in June of 1974, the cops, they're on to him and he gets arrested. When he got busted, he had $5,476 in cash in his pockets.
Okay.
He also had a briefcase. Inside there was another 20 grand in U.S. currency.
Just some folding money.
Yeah, he had cash from Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Kenya.
Yes.
He had some really sweet pics of marijuana, like nice photos.
Oh, really?
Weed shots.
Show the family.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it souvenirs? Are
Probably
these
sales
requests?
shots,
ads?
I imagine. Like
Yeah,
showing
whatever.
the Brits in Kenya. Like, look, here you go.
Yeah, look what I can get for you. Also in the briefcase, blank tourist visas so he could get into Nicaragua whenever he wanted.
Oh, wow.
He had blank checks for a Swiss bank account. This
man.
paperwork from a German company about a new Mercedes that was ready to be shipped out to him.
Oh,
in
he's
Florida.
living my best life.
And then
This
there
is
was
amazing.
his passport. And
Only
then,
one?
According to Outside Magazine, it was, quote, so thick that it stretched out like an accordion and indicated that he had been to 12 countries in the past 30 days, including Jamaica, Colombia, Japan, Hong Kong, Panama, and the Cayman Islands. That's like red flag city.
Yeah, my friend Dave used to travel a lot, and he had I've never seen anyone have this. There's an extension you get for your passport.
Yes, yeah,
and
I've
he
seen
had
that.
two.
Two?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So his bond, when he's busted, like it's red flag city,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
Like there's all this evidence against him. The bond is set at $500,000.
Okay.
And he had to surrender that crazy passport. 3 months later, his lawyer handed over a cashier's check for the whole amount. Didn't go through a bail bondsman. He's like, Ray, we're out of here. It was the largest bond ever posted in Florida's history at that point.
In Florida's history.
Yeah.
And
And
so, there's some history there.
So this grand jury indicted him for smuggling more than 12 tons of marijuana. And the prosecutors were calling him like a soldier of fortune. Treetop flyer of the seas, basically. So the trial was supposed to start on January 5th, 1975.
Okay.
And he was looking at 5 years if convicted of the smuggling charge. Only 5 because the war on drugs
Had not started. Yeah, totally. I was just about asking.
He probably would get more as more charges would be tacked on.
Okay.
But then something horrible happened. Ray's lawyer went to the court and made a public announcement that Raymond Grady Stansel Jr. had died on New Year's Eve in a scuba diving accident off the coast of Honduras.
I shouldn't be laughing, I'm sure.
They were still searching for his body, but it was going to be for recovery, not rescue. It was tragic.
Tragic, Elizabeth.
Let's take a break. And when we get back,
dangerous entertainment, scuba diving.
When we get back from dangerous diving, diving for deals with these ads, we're going to continue this sad tale.
Yeah.
Zaron.
Oh, Elizabeth.
Zaron, let's have a moment of silence for Raymond Grady Stansel Jr.
Can I laugh during it?
Dead. No. Don't laugh. It's so sad. This is 1% because he wasn't murdered.
Yeah, of course. No.
Dead at the age of 37.
A tragedy, Elizabeth.
Yeah,
I'm sure his lawyer is broken up.
It is. Yeah. I don't know why you find this so funny.
I don't know either. What's wrong?
A man gave his life to Davy Jones's locker.
What's wrong with my face?
He died, Zaron.
You shouldn't be smiling like
this. But
this.
He didn't. No one believed he was really dead.
No one would. Come on, man.
You're
facing 5 years into federal pen.
He's a week after he made bail, he hopped on a motorcycle and he tore out of Tampa.
I've been there, brother.
And from there,
real Jimmy Buffett energy.
Right? He goes to this small airstrip and a buddy of his is waiting there with a plane.
Okay.
So the two of them, they fly to Key West and they met up with his girlfriend, Janet Wood. Now, wait, Elizabeth, didn't this guy have a wife and 4 kids?
That's right.
Yes, he did.
Great question, Zaron.
But he and the missus were estranged.
Oh.
Yeah. So
probably because of the girlfriend.
Probably because makes sense.
That's
the Key West girlfriend. Is this a Jimmy Buffett song?
Yeah, I think it's sounding like it.
It gets good. According to the Tampa Bay Times, Janet and Ray met, quote, after he spotted her at the famed Chart Room Bar in Key West in 1973. It was a watering hole for an eclectic mix of politicians, millionaires, artists, musicians, treasure hunters, and various unsavory types. Singer Jimmy Buffett and treasure hunter Mel Fisher were frequent visitors in those days.
Jimmy Buffett
and a treasure hunter. And then he's sees her across the bar, is all hubba hubba. And she's like, hubba hubba? There it is. Jimmy Buffett sighting. Was Jimmy Buffett there and introduced them? Who knows?
Fins to the left of me, fins to the right of me. And you're the only girl in town.
So in Key West, he gets there. He's out on bail. He begs Janet, come with me on the run. They're going to say I drowned in Honduras. Not true.
Not true. Don't believe
She's like, you don't have to ask me twice. Let's get out of here.
I'm already in the car.
Yeah, so off they go. They didn't have a set plan.
Of course not these kids.
No, Ray knew all the right people for this sort of thing.
He does have a good network.
Yeah. The people he knew, they knew how to move someone silently, invisibly.
Totally. We just treat a person like drugs and do that. Smuggle the people.
Pretty much. So first they went to Honduras.
Okay.
He knew it well. He'd run a lot of drugs out of there.
Yeah, he's got a business down there, right?
In fact, he basically knew the entire Gulf of Mexico like the back of his hand. Yeah. In Honduras, he walked directly into the American embassy. And he was like, hello, I am an American tourist and I've lost my passport. I mean, he did lose it, but not in the way that he implied. They're like, what's your name? Dennis Lafferty. I am 33 years old. I live in Florida. And they're like, okay. So it turns out there was a Dennis Lafferty who lived in Florida who would have been 33, but he died a year before this.
Oh.
So with a new ID and travel papers secured, Ray, Janet, they moved on.
Damn, son.
Yeah. So they go to the island of Roatan. I'm probably not saying that right. 45 miles off the northern coast of Honduras.
Yeah, I was just hearing about this.
So during this Christmas break, before he fakes his death, all 4 of his kids, all between the ages of 11 and 16.
I forgot about these poor kids.
Yeah, they joined him there. And they lived it up. They went snorkeling.
Never mind.
Fishing. In what may have been a torturous development, they all sat around at night and listened to Janet play the guitar.
Oh, God.
Or maybe it was nice. It was just lots of Puff the Magic Dragon.
You would have gone to prison instead. You really just take me, lock me up.
Who's to say? She's singing about blowing out a flip-flop.
Stepping on a pop-top.
Yeah. So when the kids made it back to Florida, the cops were there waiting to ask them and their mom, if they knew about Ray, like, where can we find him? They're like, no idea. I don't know. The 4 of us miners just all went to Honduras and hung out on an island by ourselves. Get over it.
What? You don't do that?
So from the island, Ray and Janet, they went to Guatemala City. And they came up with a plan. Finally. Yeah. They're like, how about this? Let's get a 40-foot boat and just spend our days sailing the 7 seas.
I mean, I like the plan. I like where your head's at, you crazy couple.
That's not really a plan.
But that's the beginning.
Well, so then they're like, how about this part of the plan?
It's more like a dream.
We'll just keep going until we get to the Great Barrier Reef.
Wow.
Okay.
That the
now you have a general
whole Pacific is in your way, but good luck with that.
Well, so off they go. They went Nicaragua, Panama, Colombia, Aruba, Curacao, Bonaire. They ditched the boat for a while and then hopped on a motorcycle and like tootled all over the various like Central American mountain ranges.
Okay.
And when they got to Belize, things got dicey. They were recognized. Well, one of them was.
They should have gone through Colombia.
No, Janet was recognized. But people didn't think she was Janet. They thought she was Patty Hearst.
Because of
she
the
was
kidnapping.
Held for 24 hours and then released. But they're like, whoo, they finally, no, I'm not Patty Hearst. Off she goes. She got pregnant. Congratulations, you two. That sounds like a fantastic, stable life.
I'd love to be pregnant on the lam.
So in her condition, the couple opted to ditch the boat for good and just fly everywhere.
Also medical care during the pregnancy.
Oh, fantastic.
They also decided to ditch out on that.
Yes.
Like, who needs
So they go to
vitamins?
Venezuela, Peru, Tahiti, New Hebrides, now called Vanuatu.
Yeah.
And it was there that they got married. But then, sadly, Janet lost the baby.
Oh.
So they were understandably bereft, and they headed off to Australia. Okay. Finally, heading towards the Great Barrier Reef, they finally settled in North Queensland. It's super rural and remote.
Yeah.
And the people there mind their own business.
That's what I've heard.
And it has amazing fishing.
I've always wanted to go there.
Yeah, it's the perfect place for Ray. So I have to say that Port Douglas, where they went, might be the perfect place for me.
Really? Why is that?
It's, it is. It's hot and tropical and muggy and prone to monsoons and cyclones.
It's all sound perfect for you.
But according to Google Street View, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
How was your Google Street Tour?
Gorgeous and not crowded.
Oh, you love all of those things.
Yeah. I don't love all the hot tropical. Oh my God, the bugs. I can't imagine the bug scene must be horrible. But anyway, here's from the Outside article. Quote, "There's a saying in Australia's far North Queensland region, your history starts here. For decades, this remote stretch of pristine beaches and lush rainforest along the continent's northeastern edge has attracted an oddball mix of Australian hippies and starry-eyed foreigners seeking a fresh start. You could be a German count or a renegade chemist who supplied LSD to the Grateful Dead. No one gives a stuff," said Andrew Forsyth, himself a former pilot who ferried Pope John Paul II and Queen Elizabeth around the world and relocated to the area in 2002 after first visiting some 40 years prior. "You could fire a gun down the street and you wouldn't hit anybody," said Norm Clinch, a machinist from Brisbane, who often fished out of Port Douglas. "The police? There was one station and they'd be all in there drunk or asleep."
Oh, man, sounds delightful. Except for I would miss live music.
They probably have live music.
No, but I mean, you're not going to see the White Stripes.
Famous people.
Nobody's going to come through.
But I think right now, this region, I know Eastern Australia is having terrible flooding.
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
And then the fires, they just take turns. In the summer, the wildfires.
God, yeah. Anyway, Zaron.
Yes.
Close your eyes.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, really.
How's it closed?
I want you to picture it. It's October 1975, springtime in Australia. You are a bartender at the Courthouse Hotel in Port Douglas. It's the oldest pub in Port Douglas and, according to ownership, one of the most iconic pubs in all of Australia. Clean and breezy, the place sits on a corner of the port's main street and looks out over Anzac Park and the harbor. From your vantage point at the bar, you can look through the wide open veranda to the street and the coral sea beyond. You hear the rumble of an old 50s station wagon come down Wharf Street. It's a slow afternoon at the pub. The sun is shining and there's a lovely, sweet breeze. You watch as the faded green station wagon eases into a spot by the park, and then you watch a couple get out of the car. They stretch out and turn their faces to the sun, obviously stiff and tired from a long drive. There's no traffic around them, just the sound of the waves and the wind and some palm trees. He's a tall, shaggy-haired fellow with a healthy mustache. She's a fit and happy brunette. As you expected, they make their way from the parking lot to your bar. The only patron inside on this afternoon is Peg-Leg Tommy. He rests his one bare foot on the leg of his bar stool with his rough artificial leg dangling beneath him. He's been here since you opened this morning, like many other days, nursing a whiskey sour and reading the newspaper out of Townsville City. The couple enter the pub and approach the bar. "What can I get for you?" you ask. In a clear American accent, the man asks for a lager. The woman orders a soda water. Peg-Leg Tommy turns to them, extends his hand for a shake, and introduces himself. The couple are charmed by him. They pull up stools and settle in. Tommy asks them what brings them to Port Douglas. They tell him they've just relocated here. "Lots of weeds tumble in," Peg-Leg Tommy tells them. They smile. "Weed," the man chuckles. You place their drinks on the bar and share a nod with the man. Tommy asks where they're from. "I'm Lee Lafferty from Galveston, Texas in the USA," he says. "This is my wife, Janet. She's originally from Michigan." To you and Tommy, that information means pretty much nothing, but you both nod sagely. "I'm a fisherman," Lee tells you both. "And my parents are dead," Janet says. You and Tommy exchange side eyes. We really do get the weirdos here, you think. Tommy launches into one of his monologues about life in far north Queensland, regaling the couple with tales of bull sharks and massive crocodiles. He hints that that's how he lost his leg. You know better. He got drunk and passed out at a lumber mill when he was in his 20s in New South Wales. Tommy asks the couple where they're living. "In the motel down the road a bit," Lee says. But then he tells you both that he's planning on designing a boat, a 53-footer. They'll live on that. "Sounds like a plan," Tommy says. He and Lee raise a toast to that, clinking glasses. You look out at the road and wonder if the couple will like it here, make a home here. You hope they do.
Seem like a cool couple.
Cool couple. Well, Zaron, you get that wish.
I do.
So Ray, he did build that big boat,
Nice.
and the couple lived on it for 7 years.
Good for the local
That was
economy.
their first home.
Oh, for 7 years. Wow.
Yeah. He designed and built this big old boat.
It sounds awesome.
But meanwhile, back at the ranch, or
America?
the United States,
Yeah.
it was Ray Stansel sighting fever.
Oh.
Yeah, so tips came in that he was in a brothel in Belize, on the beach in Panama, like sipping drinks in Aruba, hanging out in Florida. North Florida prosecutor David McGee said, quote, "It was like Elvis. He became kind of a legend." So in 1976, a hot tip came in from Honduras. He wasn't just spotted, he was captured. The
Really?
Florida Department of Law Enforcement, they were thrilled. So they released this public announcement that Ray was alive, in custody, and they were on their way to Honduras to go scoop him up. But when
they released this before they scooped him up.
They get down there and the cell is empty.
Oh.
But we knew that because he was in Australia.
I was assuming is that somebody was using his old passport.
No.
Like somebody had stolen it or found it.
I don't know what the story is,
Some
but I feel
street
like
criminal got
Honduras
busted.
was just yanking their chain. I don't know.
God, that's hilarious.
Back in Australia, Ray, a.k.a. Lee, and Janet, she just used her name because she's like, I'm not on the run.
Yeah.
They were doing great. According to Outside, quote, Lee outfished the locals in part by using live bait, caught with the specially designed cast nets that he and Janet made and sold, and quickly established himself as one of the best Port Douglas had ever known.
I like how
He wasn't just fitting in, he was thriving.
totally. I like how he's good with fishing.
Yeah, everyone loved him, and he wasn't making anyone suspicious by like throwing cash around.
Totally. And also, just about to say that thing I liked about him being good at fishing is you can bond with locals if you're a good fisherman.
Oh, yeah.
They'll respect that, and it doesn't necessarily challenge them in the way that they're going to get angry.
Well, and it's not like he had these nets and he was all proprietary about it. He's like, we'll make some, sell them. At one point, he actually, he borrowed $8,000 from this other American expat in order to fix his boat. So it was just like, he was just a normal guy and he like paid him back or whatever. Do
you think he didn't have the money?
I don't think he took a lot of the money. And I think they burned through a lot of the money flitting all over Central and South America. Yeah. But he was just a normal guy. He did not go back for visits to the United States.
Well, he can. I mean,
yeah. And they just became like a part of the fabric of the community. So after they settled in.
His kids never came to visit him again.
No.
The ones who visited him.
No.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. He settles in. He and Janet, they had 2 daughters, Jessie, born in 1976, and Kiana, born in 1980. So Lee and Janet Ray/Lee, they told their daughters a little bit about their dad's former life, but they made it clear that this was just house talk. Like, don't tell anyone about this. So, of course, they told people about it. Well, they told one person.
Oh, no.
When they were teenagers, the girls told their horseback riding instructor about their dad and his, former smuggling ways. The instructor, Christine Doan, she was a former Olympic horseback rider from the United States. So another tumble in. She didn't tell anyone what she'd been told.
Oh, okay.
And then her brother married one of the girls, so she knew it was best to keep it zipped on family business.
Oh.
She later, though, told Outside magazine that she didn't like the, quote, lies and secrecy, which created so much collateral damage in the family. The secrecy and paranoia of the entire family is twisted. Janet is one of the most in denial humans I ever met. The family used to treat this as a young man's hoot. They have an enormous need to whitewash this. So let's consider that.
Yeah.
Take a break for some ads.
Okay.
And when we return, more tales of life on the run in remote Australia.
Yeah.
Zaron,
Elizabeth.
when we left off,
Yes.
Ray and Janet, they had settled in far north Queensland in Australia.
Yes.
Do you think I can convince Admiral iHeart to pay for us to go to Australia and meet up with Aussie rude dudes and tour the country at a leisurely pace?
Ooh, you're very charming.
Do you have any good blackmail materials on the Admiral? That would help.
Yeah. Give me a
Let's
couple.
work
Give
on
me a
this.
couple weeks.
Okay. So anyway, Ray.
By the way, I'm loving this story because it's like, actors get to do this where they get to live a life that they didn't live by playing a part.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm hearing a story that's like, oh, the road not taken.
It is the
Fake your death and run away to Australia.
It's the catharsis of Greek theater. We get to actually live it without having to live it. Ray and Janet, they settled in, kept quiet. So in the early 80s, they moved off the boat and they bought some property. And then Ray, a.k.a. Lee, he founded Daintree River Cruise Center. And it still exists today.
You can still go there.
Yeah. May I read to you from their website?
I would love
It's a
that,
quick
Elizabeth.
recap for us.
I was afraid I'd have to ask.
Thank you. In 1987, Lee and Janet Lafferty opened the Daintree River Cruise Center with a vision to share the spectacular wildlife and rainforest in the most environmentally sensitive way possible. Dedicated conservationists with an infectious passion for wildlife, the Lafferty name quickly became synonymous with ecotourism and the Daintree River. Lee was one of the original guides on the river and gained a reputation as the authority on its flora and fauna. With his encyclopedic memory and constant fascination with the river, he spent the rest of his life educating others and sharing his passion through his tours.
I love that they're on the early wave of ecotourism.
Oh,
They're
yeah. And so over the next decade, the business just takes off.
I bet.
It's an important part of the region, and it brought in a ton of tourist dollars. And you see pictures of it. There's a river tour similar to it. It feels like in Kauai.
I was just about to ask. Yeah,
and
Hawaii.
it
That's
looks
what I'm
like
imagining.
that. Yeah, and it's
It looks like you're in Raiders of the Lost Ark, but in
Yes,
South America.
Exactly.
I get it.
And it was important. The business was really important in establishing best practices for cultural respect. They got these, Aboriginal recognition and stuff, conservation, community projects, that kind of stuff. So the family ran this business for 35 years. Ray, a.k.a. Lee, and Janet, they lived happy, loving, fulfilling lives. But then in June 2011, some major news broke.
Yes.
An American drug smuggler hiding out in far north Queensland since the 80s had been captured.
What?
Not Ray. Peyton Eidson.
I think there was another smuggler hiding out in the same
Peyton
area.
Eidson. Or for those living in Julatten, Julatten, apologies, I don't know how to say it, an hour inland of Port Douglas, an hour away,
sure.
they knew him as Michael McGoldrick.
Okay, McGoldrick. Huh.
But That is right. There's another smuggler had drifted out to Ray's middle of nowhere to start a new life under a new identity just an hour away. So Peyton Eidson, he was the leader of a Santa Rosa, California smuggling ring.
Oh.
He'd been busted operating an ocean-going freighter hauling 40,000 pounds
What?
At a time of weed from Thailand to the States.
20 tons of pot.
Yeah. 20.
Damn.
Yeah. This was child's play for Ray, though. He's like, come on.
But a boat
we
with
don't
20
call that money over
tons
here.
of pot is a huge amount.
Yeah, but Ray was doing 100,000 pounds at a time.
Yeah, I know. It's still a lot.
It's a lot. Both of those guys, they're
both impressive.
They're both
Elizabeth.
big boys.
I'm very impressed with both of them.
Pulling long daddies.
Yes.
Both
One of
them
them is much more impressive.
Yes. In 1986, this Peyton, he skipped bail, and he and his wife and daughter used fake passports to flee to Australia. And so just like Ray and Janet, they opened a tourist operation. They had this like health spa and luxury mountain retreat.
Okay.
And just like Ray and Janet, they'd become beloved members of the community.
Naturally.
So at some point in 2011, the Australian authorities figured out that the real Michael McGoldrick had died in Las Vegas in the 80s. So who is this guy? So they contacted the U.S. Diplomatic Security Service and like a little sleuthing here, some snooping there. Boom. They uncover him, Peyton. And it was just an hour away from Ray. I'm still trying to get my head around this. And since they both owned tourist operations, I wonder if they ever crossed paths.
I'm sure. I mean,
they had to have
tourist industry, like conventions
and like
or whatever.
a banquet.
Yeah.
They're like getting awards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you imagine though, Ray's fear when he sees that headline and he's like, and he looks out, there's no cops out the window, but he's like,
freaked him out. Like the whole thing freaked him out. And like he and Janet were just squirrely after this.
I bet.
And because then just 3 years later, someone grassed him. Someone ratted him out. I have my suspicions.
Who do you think it was?
Horse
trainer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did she divorce this?
We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. Whoever it was didn't go to the cops, though. They went to the press. Specifically to Pulitzer Prize-winning Florida newspaper reporter Lucy Morgan. So at this point,
Get it, Lucy?
She's semi-retired. She's 74 years old.
Hell yeah, Lucy.
But she had spent like much of her career
Covering
reporting on Ray and like keeping tabs on all the sightings.
I love that.
She'd written all these articles about him and like that whole smuggling scene.
Yeah, of course. This is her beat.
And then as they're like taken down one by one, she reports on it. Everyone but Ray. So she'd gotten all these tips over the years, and she's like, I get kind of tired of them. I'll look into this one.
Okay.
And like, Ray living as like an enviro warrior in rural Australia, like, oh, fine, I'll just chase this one down. It's original. So she starts doing her deep dive.
Story has legs.
Where was Ray at this point? Well, he still owned the tour service, but now he was battling Parkinson's disease.
Oh, right. 'Cause he's getting up there.
Yeah. And like medication was helping, but it limited his activities. So he couldn't do as much on the boats. He wasn't supposed to be driving. His hands shook something terrible and he was getting really weak, like a lot of muscle loss. On the afternoon of May 26, 2015, a call came in to local police. A pickup truck driving on a winding road had wrecked and wrapped around a massive gum tree. There was this old dog, a Bichon Frise, in the truck that was like a little bit dazed, but was going to be okay. But the driver, gone, killed instantly. It was Ray. This time he really did die.
Oh.
Everyone in Port Douglas is absolutely devastated. The mayor called him a lovely man and a gentleman. His neighbors and his friends like praised his extensive scientific knowledge, his drive for preservation.
Yeah.
One guy said that he didn't have a bad bone in his body.
Well, big surprise coming your way, buddy.
Yeah. And, they had some bad bones in his body. He hadn't used them in a while, but they were there.
Bones in your body, like doesn't have a racist bone in their body, doesn't have a bad bone in their body.
Get
the
that.
whole idea of thematic bones in bodies kills me.
Right. Exactly. So the truth comes out.
Sure.
Lucy Morgan broke the story in the Tampa Bay Times. So she gets the tip.
Yeah.
He dies, and then she
breaks the story and she gets confirmation.
He had divorced Janet in 2011.
Oh.
But
they really got squirrely.
Yeah. So either because of that or maybe despite that, I don't know. This huge piece runs in the Tampa Bay Times. His sister said, quote, "It really just broke my heart when he disappeared. He never tried to contact us again. I felt so bad that his children had to grow up without him." So, he's two people.
Yeah, totally.
And about those kids, though, two of the boys, Ronald and Raymond Jr., or Raymond III.
Yeah.
So we have Ronald and Raymond III.
Son of a sailor.
Yeah. They did time in federal prison
for
importing cocaine.
Well, you know.
They were indicted.
When you hear the legends like that, you're going to think this is always an option.
Sure. Well, they were indicted in 1991. Both of them then immediately went on the lam.
Mm-hmm.
I learned it from watching you.
Totally.
Yeah. So Ronald, he got picked up in 1994, but Ray III, he was able to avoid capture for 20 years, just like Papa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Knock off the block.
So he headed up to Alaska. He went the other direction, and he used the name Don Davenport.
Oh.
He's like, I'm Don Davenport from Colorado.
From Port Chester.
Yeah. So he got married.
Mm-hmm.
What's amazing is that he married a cop.
Huh.
One of the articles refers to her as a Kodiak police officer.
Okay.
So I like to imagine a big bear in a police uniform.
With sunglasses
it's
on.
It's so much more fun that way.
Yeah, aviator Ray-Bans.
So Ray III,
squeezed
also,
into a truck.
When he's married to the bear, he also had a wife and kid back in Florida, but whatever.
He did it too.
Yeah, just like Papa.
Just like Dad.
I learned it from watching you. He got busted in Texas in 2010, gets extradited to Florida to face charges.
His father.
Yeah. He told Outside Magazine via a letter written from the federal pen, quote, I think my father picked a good place to have a life, and I'm glad that he won and got out of here when he did. I missed him, but used what he taught me and lived without regrets for my life.
Oh, that's a devastating
about what he taught you.
Assessment of fatherhood.
Ronald
his fatherhood.
Was right there with his brother. He wrote in a letter to Outside from the federal pen, quote,
they have time.
Yeah. I don't blame Dad for not showing up. I'm sure that he missed certain aspects of what was left behind. It's like you cut a chunk out of your heart leaving, but things seldom end the way you visualize in life. You can only take your best shot and roll with the punches.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's had some rough emotional lows.
Yeah. So, like I said, the Riverboat Company still exists.
Okay.
This is from their website. When Lee passed away in 2015, his daughter Kiana inherited the business and assumed the responsibility of championing this amazing ecosystem to the world. Kiana has remained dedicated to operating sustainably and in harmony with the environment and local community. She continues to uphold all the values put in place by her father and has proven herself not only as a business owner, but also as a passionate environmental activist.
Good for her.
Yeah, so to close this out, I'd like to leave you with commentary from Norman Duke.
Not the Norman Duke.
Yeah, the world's foremost authority on mangrove forests.
Yes.
And also close friend of Ray/Lee.
Thank you.
When asked about how people in far north Queensland talk about Lee as someone who found redemption, as a man running away from a troubled past who transformed himself into a protector of one of the world's most pristine natural habitats, this is what Duke had to say, quote, reflecting on it now, it's just what Australia's all about. It's all about redemption, all about finding a new life.
Interesting way to look at colonialism.
Zaron.
Sorry. He said it, not
Zaron,
me.
what's your ridiculous takeaway?
Hearing the road not taken, I am glad I took the road I did.
Me too.
Because living like life on the lam sounds like just punishing for anyone who ever once loved you.
Yeah, that's what I think is my takeaway. Thank you for asking.
Oh, right. Yeah. What did you think?
Is that the complexity of being these two, he's still in there. There's the bone and the body thing,
yes,
right? Like,
totally. So
he's as a fugitive or as a criminal, he's got these good aspects to who he is. He's always been an environmentalist and like
totally. Very
always,
hippie-like, I imagine.
been like a very personable, likable,
charming,
good guy.
Likes people.
He wasn't violent. He didn't hurt people. No. But there was a certain violence to abandoning the family and the kids.
It's like soft violence.
And you see that like his boys think that he was a good role model, I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas like
he took down both of their lives.
You don't see it like when from like they stand back when we get a view from where we see it of like the damage that he did to these guys.
Well, yeah, because I don't fault them for thinking what they think, and I don't even pity them. It's not like that.
Yeah.
But I can see the limits of their world like a snow globe.
Yes.
And they don't know that they're in the snow globe, and it doesn't have to be the way they know.
Right. And then
they're smart for what they know from based on what they have known.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I admire how they reacted to their worlds in some ways. I feel bad that their dad pushed him into that snow globe.
And the horseback lady talking about Janet being so in denial.
Yeah.
Well, you have to survive.
Totally.
Like how having that hanging over you, that you build this lovely life in this community, come crashing down in one moment.
Mm-hmm.
That the pressure of that, you kind of have to disassociate.
Also, Horse Lady did the same thing.
Yeah, what was Horse Lady running from?
No, I don't mean that. I mean is that she decided not to snitch because it benefited her family.
Yeah.
It's the same choice Jenna did. She's not because it benefits her family.
Yeah,
it's the exact same choice.
Exactly. But so like this notion of redemption, I am fully a believer in that. And I'm a believer in reinvention of oneself. Yes. I think that's an important opportunity as well.
Cognizant of others as well. It cannot be a solitary act.
But the wreckage in your wake, goodness.
None of us are an island, Jack.
No. And it brings me back to obligation.
Yes, your original thesis.
Thank you. Yes. That in summary,
nice synthesis
embrace
of that,
your obligations.
Totally.
You know, that you can't run from them, and it causes more wreckage when you do. Dave, I need to talk back.
I got you covered.
Talk back. Oh my God, did he just say that?
OMG.
Hey, Producer D, Zaron, and Elizabeth. This is Heather from Texas. First, thank you for renewing my love of Garden and Gun with that fabulous story from Alabama a couple of weeks ago. And thank you for being my constant companions in the car. You make me laugh every day. I love ridiculous crime.
Yay!
Thank you. We do it for you, for the people.
Garden and Gun should cut us in on new subscriptions.
That's what you want?
Yes. Oh, I love that one. That's us for today. You can find us online at ridiculouscrime.com, which is on the 10 most wanted websites list.
Again, nice.
Again. You can also find us on Blue Sky and Instagram. We're on YouTube at Ridiculous Crime Pod. Email us at ridiculouscrime@gmail.com. Leave us a talkback on the iHeart app. We also, I don't know when it's going to come out, if it has, or if it will be in a few weeks. There's the Puzzler podcast and iHeart podcast. We're on that on 2 episodes.
AJ had us on the host. It was really a lot of fun.
We'll link it places and keep your eyes peeled.
If you like puzzles,
yeah, it's excellent. But whatever you do, reach out. Ridiculous Crime is hosted by Elizabeth Dutton and Zaron Burnett. Produced and edited by noted Australian drifter Dave Kouston. Starring Annalise Rutger as Judith. Research is by fugitive riverboat guide Marissa Brown. The theme song is by one-legged crocodile hunter Thomas Lee and one-armed beer slinger Travis Dutton. Host wardrobe is provided by Botany 500. Guest hair and makeup by Sparkleshot and Mr. Andre. Executive producers are rat snitch tourboat customers on hold with the paper in Florida, Ben Bolin and Noel Brown.
Ridiculous crime.
Say it one more time.
Ridiculous crime.
Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.